Hello and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to do a few experiments. This is because of the audience participation is absolutely essential if you want anything to be done or get things done. Before we go on to that, let me impart some words of wisdom to you. In the last few months, I have proven 100% plus another 100, and I've done so up to 10,000% proof that the average man and woman live in a world of fiction. David Wayne Miller did it with language. Because of the volume of proof that I have provided, like for example, with what humans mean, hence they can't use that word, and the difference between humans and men and women, as well as, like with the Georgia Guidestones, when I clearly pointed out there is a vast difference of 500 human beings, 500 million, I believe, human beings should be kept as a perpetual balance with nature. And it gives some guidance for men and women as well. Quite often, when these things happen, these life-changing moments, when an entire way of life, like humans, has been just simply disqualified. And there are rewards involved in doing that, and I'll share some of those things with you later on this broadcast. Also, I need to know from you through the comment section that you've got people to share these presentations with. And indeed, with that, offering to other people, that you yourself have made your thoughts open and heard using this universal broadcasting station called YouTube. And insofar as 97 or 98,000 of you have subscribed to it, excellent. I'm so very grateful. I'm grateful that it has not fallen on deaf ears. Before we go on to the other parts that I spoke about, I would like to skip in and skip out. And I want us to read together the definition of what a death pledge and mortgages are. You've got to grasp, and the entire planet has to grasp, in the corona period, death pledges, if you believe you have death pledges, you are mistaken and you are still in the world of fiction. Because in the corona age, no one can hold a death pledge to you unless there's something more going on. So that's what we're going to explore, and we're going to read together. I know it is not done. The reason why it's not done, that you don't read as I'm reading, because people read different paces. So let me read it with you, okay? And you listen. So you look at the words, and let me read it with you, and then you folks can read that by yourself, okay? And I've got to understand why it is impossible for these fraudsters, commonly known as banksters, to fix a death pledge on you, because it's all done under presumption and assumption. In the world of fiction, they get you to look in the mirror and convince you that that is you. So let me read this, okay? Because the text is, it's a bit small, so I'll probably need to reduce it just a little bit more. I've put in Google for you folks, death pledges and mortgages. And every time you use the correct words, Google itself, through your actual IP address, will give you the information, because words are spells and spells are keys and keys unlock doors, as well as locked doors. Hence, depressed people lock themselves into the words, thinking that's what they are. It's the words that are controlling their psychomotor skills, their chemistry in their bodies. Yeah. That's a generic statement. It does not take into account a bereavement and things like that, which are a natural function of grievance, or grieving, I should say. Sorry about the word grievance. So I'm going to read it. Just listen. Death pledges and mortgages. I've left it open-ended, so they'll carry on with a sentence. These are search engine techniques that I'm teaching you. And it comes back with this. And it's called good returns. So it's offering something in good faith. So, comma, in short, mortgage is a term that is used for fixed assets like land, buildings, apartments, etc. Analyze every single bit inside of a comma, because every single bit inside of a comma, before the comma, is an entirely different sentence in its own. You understand? So the word so, in their funny quasi-world, is actually a sentence in itself. And whenever they put their commas in, that itself is another sentence. You understand? They're not breathing spaces. They're actually sentences. So it's basically saying now, so it's a so. What does that word so mean? It's a reflection. It's a reflective word, because Google is giving it to me reflectively, because I've asked it an open-end question. In short, which means it's giving me a synopsis. Okay, a synopsis. Mortgage is a term that is used for fixed assets like land, buildings, apartments, etc. Very carefully listen. When you pledge your shares, they would still remain with you, and you would be entitled to dividends, etc. So far, this mortgage system doesn't seem to be a bad idea. They've said nothing out of that it's a death pledge. However, which means the direct opposite, when you mortgage your apartment, the documents would remain with the lender. So let's read it from bottom to top. Always read documents from bottom to top. However, when you mortgage your apartment, the documents would remain with the lender. It's only when you mortgage your apartment, your land, your house, that's when the document would remain with the lender. The lender of what? Read it again. I am. You are not. However, when you mortgage your apartment, I don't have an apartment. Or do I really have an apartment? It's just that I don't know about it. Apartment means something that is part of something else. Like an apartment is a piece of building that doesn't sit on a land exclusively of itself. So it's many parts of some piece of land that it sits on, like multiple units. However, when you mortgage your apartment, hold on a minute. How can I immortgage something I don't own? Unless they're telling me something here. However, when you mortgage your apartment, so I have an apartment to mortgage. That's what it's saying. The documents would remain with the lender. It's only when I choose to mortgage something that it looks like I own, that's the only time that the paperwork for it is taken away to the so-called lender. The lender of what? It's presumption and assumption, it's money. But since you own it already, why am I getting money for? What's the money for? A lot of oxymorons on the last sentence, but more revealing in Shakespearean thought. Let's read the second sentence, which has to go all the way back. So, which is a reply to an open-ended question. In short, which is a synopsis. Mortgage is a term that is used for fixed assets like land, buildings, apartments, etc. Full stop. So, you have to have a piece of land, building, apartment, etc. in order for you to get a mortgage. So these things are already yours. And by some devious mechanism, they have got you to swap that land, that building, that apartment for fiat currency, for the security of a fiat currency which has no proof of work. Wow. What a bloody con job. It looks like you own it already. And that word is called to have and to hold. And for those people that have not understood this, I've taken control of that globally for the purposes of safeguarding it until mankind moves out of the mirror world, the imaginary world, and into the real world, where he will be given, where quantum grammar will become available to them, the world masses. It's part of the Corona age. Let's read the middle sentence. When you pledge your shares, oh my God, what is going on here? When you pledge your shares, I have shares? I didn't know. I am not acting, by the way. I am genuinely becoming emotional with you. When you pledge your shares, I have shares. I didn't know I had shares. I didn't know I had land, buildings, apartments, and shares. It looks like I'm sharing it with you. I'm sharing these things with you. When you pledge your shares, which is your birthright, your heritage, not inheritage. When you pledge your shares, I didn't know I had shares, man. Come on. What the hell's going on? When you pledge your shares, I have the ability to make a pledge of shares that I didn't know I had. But according to their funny quasi language, I do. They would still remain with you, and you would be entitled to dividends. This is the root sentence. You had the prefix, you have been given the suffix of the sentence, the paragraph, the chapter. You have been given the prefix of the chapter, and you've been given the suffix of the chapter. Now let's go to the root of the chapter. The root of that word. Prefix, root word, suffix. When you pledge your shares, they would still remain with you, and you would be entitled to dividends, etc. So if I pledge my shares, which I didn't know I had, or my land or my building, to a bank, that bank owns dividends to me for using my lands, using my buildings and my shares. That's a pledge. But it's not a death pledge yet. It's a pledge, like me and you shaking hands. We're blood brothers. You are subscribers. You are my students. I am your teacher. And you folks put your wonderful comments at the bottom where I read it. And you reads it as well, and you tick it, and you thumbs up on it, doubling the electricity of what is happening. When you pledge your shares, you folks didn't know you had shares. They would still remain with you. They still remain with you. You never gave it up. And you would be entitled to dividends. The dividends that the Securities and Exchange Commission uses. Why do you think Washington, D.C. and all of these de facto governments, why do you think they want to build the nation for their debts? It's to rob you of your dividends. And to further that, they have convinced you that they have lent you money. Money that has no proof of work, which is called fraud. Do you know Europe tried to ban proof of work? Do you know New York? I heard New York wants to ban proof of work. That means they're saying to you, we don't want you to work for your money. And we don't want to show proof that we worked for the money. Any bloody money. You goddamn pieces of whatever you are stuck on mankind's shoe. I'm going to put you in prison, boy. Sorry, not boy, because I can't put a boy in prison. I'm going to put you in prison, you men and women. Spend 2 minutes and I'll be with you. And people told me that I can pause this. I don't want to. I want to stay with you. Okay? I want to blow this up a little bit for you. That should be totally visible now. Read it. Read the prefix. The prefix is from here to there. I give you 1 minute to read it slowly. I know it's not 1 minute, but I don't think you need a minute. Let's call it 30 seconds. This is the root of that paragraph. I know I called it sentence, but sometimes I have these slips. Read that, please. Now the suffix. Read that. You see, ladies and gentlemen, what I am exposing to you. You are actually the land. The asset's always been yours. But when you pledge, take that pledge, that shares, they sign it with another word called mortgages, then it becomes a death pledge. G-A-G-E means pledge. French. And mortgage, mort, M-O-R-T, like a mortuary, is where dead people are. Dead people making pledges. What a screwed up world these freaks live in. No wonder why I had to take control of to hold, to have, and to hold. When such information is revealed, and I'm not the only one to show these things, there are other people, quite often what will happen is that people will understand from the cradle to the grave you have been living in the mirror world, an imaginary world where they took your assets from, because it's only by that trickery, sleight of hand and mirroring that they stole that from you. It's only in the mirror that they stole that from you. You remember that wise tale of King Solomon? Yeah? Do you remember that? When the prostitute came to him, saying, this man has broadcast and told everybody, sorry about the word broadcast, told everybody that he slept with me, had sex with me for a whole night. And because of that, his popularity grew, because I'm the best prostitute there is. To go with her is like, I don't know what it would be, 10,000, 20,000, a prestigious thing. So King Solomon said, well, he publicized it, and it was a dream. So since it was a dream, let me give you the solution. He told the man to hold up a bag of gold. In a bag of gold, and he put a mirror in front of that bag of gold, and he told the prostitute to take that bag of gold from the mirror itself. These words of wisdom are there for all of you to understand that theft took place in your imagination under presumption and assumption. My job, and don't make me a savior, don't go emailing me with all those bullshit things that you people sometimes send me. Yeah. Oh, Mark, can you sort this out? Sort that out. I've given you 80% of what I know. The other 20% is for my tricks and trap students. Entitlement is what screwed you up to begin with. So, if you're a man or woman, email me. Human beings that want to project their stupidity, their short-sightedness, their problems onto me? No. The answer is no. I have shown you 100% that you live in a mirror world. Don't bring me your mirror images to me by email. I'll just delete them. And I'm being very serious with you. For you subscribers out there, 97,000 views, you understand it. Fiction people are fiction. Quite often, what will happen is that when people make wonderful videos that give incredible insight on how these things work, wannabe good people, like the Illuminati, if you like, will quite often take out ads. They've taken out 2 ads on my YouTube channel. They're basically thanking me. I'm not saying they're good people or bad people. I don't know who they are. But they want to thank me. So they'll take out an ad like this. Is this the ad that I wanted to tell you about? And I said, should I share it? And you guys agreed to it. So I'm sharing it with you. Okay. And that's the ad that they took out on the end, at the bottom of my YouTube channel. I think basically to thank me for shedding some light on these things, because I think they themselves are in darkness. Otherwise they would solve these problems, unless they're the cause of the problems. But their conduct says otherwise. I don't want to read any more into it, because the world of fiction begets fiction. When I released the information, the difference between humans and mankind, you saw the suffix of it. And I can already see there's interference on my channel. Let's hope it's not problematic. And here it's got some guidance for men. The main gist of this, what I'm trying to share with you, meditate on this. Read the suffix, then read the root sentence, then read the prefix sentence, and then reverse it, and then read from middle to top, middle to bottom, and reverse it. And your subconscious mind, your genie, will know exactly what to do. Okay? That is that. I'm sorry if the sound is set a little bit too high, 15 hours, because 11 o'clock my time, which is UK time. Remember, UK time is different from Greenwich Mean Time. Only on this world of fiction will we have 2 time zones in this one spot. I mean, it's just absurd, isn't it? At 11 o'clock p.m., I'll be doing a live broadcast with students of mine on YouTube, where they'll be giving you their analysis of the movie Passport to Pimlico. In addition to that, they will also be discussing whether obsolescence need to be banned by me, and they will be making compelling arguments for, against, or whether it's beneficial, but no opinions. As long as people believe that obsolescence is essential for technology, then you will never win the argument, and all you'll be doing is buying into wheel being reinvented. All you will be doing is buying into the wheel being reinvented. So these things should be left in your hands as well, because I don't want to just simply ban things. You need to benefit from the banning. You need to know what it is engineered or planned obsolescence really means. If you have not understood the magnitude of what I have just said, then I'm sorry. I would very much like you to understand the magnitude of what I am showing you. Okay? I'll see if I can copy this link and drop it into the description box within a few minutes of ending this transmission. I'll do that for you. And let's hope it gives you that. Okay? I essentially just want to leave that open for you for like 10 minutes for you to understand the significance of it. If I need to read it again, but boy, I feel so gutted. I feel like somebody's kicked me in the stomach. Thank you very much. I wish all of you the best. Sorry about the listing of the words, but I've been working since 7 o'clock in the morning, and I'm still working, and I'll be working right up to 11 o'clock. Yeah. So thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. Thank you very much. I mean, I really don't know how to say it. I'm not a man with many words or adjectives. If you haven't understood it, thank you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for sharing the words. It's much, much appreciated.